So you got goals and dreams, yet you scared shitless to move forward. My friend, I feel you. I have been there. In fact, I still find myself there when trying to create content for this channel some days. It's human. Fear and insecurity is a human trait. And I'm going to share some tips in this video right now on how to move through those feelings and feel empowered by them versus drained.
Be less petty with your time.
What is up, my Less Petty pals? Welcome back to my channel, Be Less Petty TV, with me, Kellye. And today we are talking about insecurities and fears. Out the gate, I want to tell you, you're normal. Insecurity and fear is a normal human trait. I like to consider myself a self-help sponge. I've read hundreds of self-help books, from titles like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, to Emmett Fox's The 10 Commandments of Mastery of Life, to even spiritual things like Seat of the Soul or The 4 Agreements, and different books to just really help me feel more empowered. One thing I noticed in every single book I've ever read is insecurity and fear was present. Whether the author talked about it in a way of like, here's how to overcome it, or what they personally struggle with. Therefore, it is normal. And I often think, what if this author didn't power through and make this book? I wouldn't have had the book to read. So people out there need you, whether it's just your kid to see their parent do something empowered and enlivened and give them the self-worth to do it as well, or whether it's just yourself to convince yourself you haven't wasted your life resting in your fears. You can power through. So here's some things that I personally use that have helped me along the way. I have something I call my toolbox, which is very similar to a household toolbox, right? If something breaks in a house, you go grab your wrench or your screwdriver and you go and you fix it. Well, this toolbox have the things I need, like meditation, writing, chanting, my happy playlist, things that I like to do to take my mind to a different space and empower me and encourage me to move forward even in the midst of my insecurities. If you don't have a toolbox, that's fine. You can start building it right now by just being observant of the things that bring you joy. What makes you feel your best? What are those things? Whatever those things are, write them down. Get your list prepared. These are the things that make me feel my best. Cool. Now you reference those when you need them. That is your toolbox. Second, I like to go to the ER, not the emergency room, but my space of education and reflection. Most insecurities arise from just not knowing. We just don't know the information, and so we get scared and we shrink. That is okay. Just educate yourself. Learn more about it. Immerse yourself in it. Become the subject, whatever that is, and then reflect. How does this apply to your life? How can you do certain things to get through this? What can you use about what you've learned to help empower you to be more effective in this way? So educate and reflect. That is super duper important when trying to get past these fears and insecurity, because when you don't know, it's really hard to feel secure about it. Another little small tip is by taking time every day to just think, like 30 to 45 seconds, to just sit and ponder on what it is you really want. What is that thing that you're trying to accomplish? How does it feel when you would accomplish it? There's a part in our brain called the reticular activating system, and Mel Robbins talks about it on her video about how this part of the brain programs every single thing that we see and reinforce. So if you assume that you can't do something, or you're fearful in whatever way, the reticular activating system is going to make sure you are reminded that you are right. Because that's all it's there to do, is to say, hey, you're right. You're right. You're right. Guess what? You're right. You don't want that part of your brain to be programmed on you're right, that you're fearful. You're right, that you're insecure. You want it to be programmed on the other side. You're right. You can get through this even though you're afraid. So there's a really cool article in the Science Direct, and I'll link that below, that also talks about the reticular activating system. But this stuff is important to be aware of because it just helps us feel more empowered. It's just more tools, more options to go to when we need it. And last but definitely not least, grab that gutsy ass friend that can do anything and bring them along for the ride. Do something fearless. Say, hey, I want to do this, or I'm thinking about doing that, and I know you're fearless. You're gutsy. You will do it. Can you help me with this? It's okay to ask for help. I'm going skydiving this Sunday. Yes, skydiving. I'm going with my 19-year-old daughter and my husband. My 19-year-old daughter is like, let's do it. I'm like, oh my God. But I have them as accountability. So they're there and they're pushing me to move forward even though I'm afraid. And the reason I'm doing skydiving anyway is because I'm afraid. And I'm tired of creating walls to continue to close up this little box I put myself in. Yes, the box I put myself in. The one that you put yourself in. We put ourselves in these boxes of limitations. We tell ourselves that we cannot do these things. Now, yes, we are influenced by others, parents or teachers, society that tries to tell us that we can't. But the ultimate decider of whether or not we go in that box or not is you and me. So let's break out of this box. Let's move through even with fear and insecurity present, because it is possible. As long as you have your toolbox, as long as you take time to go to the ER, and you got a gutsy friend in your back pocket, I promise you, you will be less fearful in no time. I'm your girl, Kellye Howard. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. I really appreciate it. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you stop and do that right now. Click that bell so you will get an alert every single time I upload a new video. And remember to always be less petty, because most shit, it's just not that serious. I'll see you all back here soon. Bye.
Be less petty with your time. Be less petty with your mind. Be less petty with your blame. All that petty shit is lame. Be less petty with your